Welcome to sewing class. I'm Annette Julie, and today we're going to be learning how to make a hem sample. This is going to be a very helpful demo if you have a pair of pants that need to be shortened or a flared skirt that needs to be shortened. Please grab yourself a piece of muslin. Go ahead and give that a nice pressing. And I will be emailing students the hem pattern, but you can use a pant or a skirt at home. So once you've gone ahead and you've pressed your muslin out, looks nice and pressed. It's got some heat and some steam. You're going to go ahead and take that piece of muslin and you're going to lay it on a cutting surface, and we're going to cut out our pattern. Here's my cutting surface. And here's my pattern. And you might want to get some pins or some weights to weight things down. So here we have the selvage edge over here to the side, known as the self edge. And I'm going to go ahead and put those two self edges right on top of each other. And I'm going to line up my top edge, which I already pre-ripped this. Okay, I went down the selvage, snipped it, and ripped it across so I have a nice ripped edge to start with. Lining up my selvage edges as best I can. And that top edge, I'm going to take our hem pattern and I'm going to lay it on the muslin, but I'm going to get a ruler to be able to measure from my selvage edge into the grain line. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to make sure that the selvage edge and the grain line are parallel with each other. Okay, this being our grain line right here in the middle of the pattern. So here from the selvage edge in, I'm about 6 1/4. Whoops, we moved it. Let's go ahead and weight that down first. So here we go. Get some weights or some little tuna cans. Let's try that measuring again. Let's go ahead and measure from grain line. Selvage edge, a little bit more than 6 1/4. Now you're going to measure at the bottom of the grain line too. That's a little bit more like 6 3/8. So I'm going to adjust the grain line and put it over just a little 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to remeasure about 6 1/4, 6 1/4. That's looking good. So I've got my weights on there, or my little tuna cans. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut out my hem sample. There's our bottom. I'm going to go ahead and do the top. Okay, now I'm going to do this side over here. And then I'm going to do the other side. Then I have little notches. I'm just going to notch in 1/8 and 1/8, and then on the other side as well. But sometimes when you're working with the pattern, it works easiest just to turn it around. And I've notched everything. Now I did notice on my top edge here it was a little jiggy-jaggy because I was using a pair of scissors that were dull. So I'm going to go back the opposite direction and just trim this up and neaten it. And I got rid of a little bit of extra stuff. So this pattern is cut out. It's ready to go. But let's go ahead and write a little bit on this so that you know what you're working with. So at the bottom, this is going to be our pant hem, okay? And at the top, this is going to be our, this is our top, or this is going to be our skirt hem up here. And then over here on the side, we're going to have seam allowance, otherwise known as SA. And over here, we're going to have seam allowance too. So we're going to have the pant hem down here, the skirt hem at the top, and we're going to make this into 2 side seams. So let's go ahead and just draw the lines that we're going to sew. To start with, I'm going to draw a 1/2 inch on both of my sides. This would be the side seam and inseam of a leg opening or side seams of a skirt. I also want you to draw little lines here, even where we know we have notches, but it's really nice to have additional markings when you're sewing. So we had the notch that came down 1 inch from the top, 1 inch from the bottom, but I'm just going to draw it as well. So that is ready to sew. And that's what our pattern started out like. And this is Annette Julie, and we're working on the hem sample, and I'm going to see you in the next video.